In this video, we're going to look at action, concern, and control. Action, concern, and control are three dynamic and important parts within the committed action core process. And I say action, concern, and control because action relates to the concerns that we have and the control that we're able to apply. What I often find is that we get into a situation and our concerns are quite huge, and we try and go out and work through our concerns and we let go of action. We stop going out and acting on those things that will make a difference. So we somewhat get consumed with the concern part. So we have concern and control. And there's a very simple model that will go out and show you this and what we're trying to go out and do. And there are two processes that are being involved in this. The first one here is control. Obviously very, very useful. And this is part of that action phase. It's part of the things that we can commit to. And then we've got this sort of wider context, this wider area. That's our concern. So we've got control and we've got concern. And there's a tendency that a lot of people will be swayed or biased into one of these. We'll either be, as some people dub it, a control freak. So we try and take control over everything, and that includes things that are completely out of our control, but we're trying to control everything. We have these unrelenting standards. We're pushing, we're controlling enormously. Very, very useful to have control, but there are times when it pushes the boundaries and it just starts to become, I suppose, unhelpful. And then we've got over here our concern, and our concern for a lot of people can be enormous. They're concerned with things that are, in actual fact, outside of their control. They're concerned with what may or may not happen. They look a lot in terms of the future and they worry about that. So it's almost like it's a worry circle or a concern area. So we've got an area of control and an area of concern. Now, from a therapeutic context, being a psychologist, I see clients that are generally, their control seems to be quite small, and this is where committed action can really jump in, and we want to go and expand that. So they generally have a small capacity or belief that they have this control. All their concerns are overwhelming. They're consumed by those. So we look at trying to improve control, trying to enhance control, looking at some small committed actions, but we're certainly not going to go from a control of this size to a control that comes all the way into this area like this. We want to slowly bring that out. And so this is the control and the concern circles. I discuss it in that way with my clients. There's a beautiful metaphor that goes along with this, something that I've put together, which is I think quite nice and gentle, and it looks like this. So you're driving along in your car, and you're having a leisurely drive, and you're starting to go down a hill, and there's beautiful scenery around and so on. And all of a sudden, you come towards a corner and you hit the brakes. But as you hit the brakes, you see that they fail. So you hit the brakes and they fail, and you realise you've got no brakes. A sticker's come up and it's shredded one of the brake lines, and so you've lost your capacity to brake. All of a sudden, you've got this huge area of concern. Your concern is enormous. As a matter of fact, it's a life-threatening situation. So your concern goes from not much, because you're just enjoying the surrounds, having a good time, being in the present moment, and then we've lost our brakes. So now the concern is enormous. Now, what do? Do we sit in the concern and go, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Do we just grab our head and just scream and cry? Or do we take control over what we've got and we grab the steering wheel and we start to steer? We're going down the hill, and rather than getting caught up in all of the concern of what may or may not happen, how about I concentrate? I'll take control. I'll take charge. I'll grab this steering wheel and I'll start to steer around the bends. And that's exactly what we're saying when our clients feel out of control and they're driving down the road and they've come to a hill, and as they come over, their brakes stop. What are they going to do? Do they go out and go into a panic of concern, and they end up taking their hands off the wheel and they crash into a tree or into a side rail or something like that? Or do they grab the steering wheel and they start to steer it? They take the control that they can. Most of the time, we actually have a lot of control available to us. We just want to do that with flexibility in mind, that we don't take all the control and try to control those things that are outside of our control, but rather use it in an effective, manageable, and flexible manner. So take charge of what you can control, make room for the concern, and if you're able to, let's take control of our concerns if that's available. And so our metaphor would mean that the control has opened up and our concern is still large, but we're able to go and manage that because we've opened up control. Hope that's useful. Use that metaphor. All clients find that really adaptable, really easy to understand, because it is very concerning, and that's what it feels like. It feels like we're out of control sometimes. Grab the steering wheel of life and move forward. Hope that's been helpful, and see you next time.